big black box.
Staring at me. I had to have it. I had to have it.
No one's fun anymore! Whatever happened to fun?
You are listening to the Drag Dungeon Podcast with your hosts, Jay and John.
Hey! Welcome back to the broadcast, your favorite podcast. You asked for this shit if you're easily offended. We don't recommend it. You asked for this shit, so here it is.
You. I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch.
Okay, and just like that, season 2 premiere. Dun, dun,
Dun, dun. We are back again.
Back in the house with season 2 of The Disaster, the funeral for Sex and the City, and just like that.
And you know, it's funny you say that, as I noticed that they add the photo. It looks like The Last Supper with Carrie and everyone, the cast. I'm like, I wonder if that's trying to send us a message.
I think you're right. How do you feel about that? I like the florals for the advertising they've done for this season. I think that's pretty.
No, I agree. It is pretty. It's a pretty ad and everything. I just noticed, who's the Judas? I mean, Carrie's clearly the Jesus, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I guess we'll see who truly is the Judas this season. Because last season, who's been the Judas to Carrie before? Miranda, when she basically talked big out of getting married. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
And and then it was it Charlotte? Yeah, it was Charlotte. Then she did something too.
They've all taken turns.
I don't blame them.
So this episode is called Met Cute, as in the Met Ball.
Yeah.
Now, last season, which we talked about at length, we knew that when the second season was announced, we were like, it can go one of two ways. It could either be they're going to take all our notes, which we so graciously gave up to for free, our full commentary. Mm-hmm. We didn't even require payment. Yep. Or they could lean in and just double down on all their mistakes.
Well, they clearly listened to this because they took everything we said to do and did the opposite.
Right.
Everything. I'm watching it going, okay, we said to do the opposite of that. We said to do the whole time, so many things.
We said, oh, we hate this character. Let's make them a lead.
Yes. And here they are, back again. And so many things I'm like, we liked this. We didn't like this, and they said the opposite. Whatever.
Yeah. So we're watching the beginning of the first episode. We're only talking about the first one here, so don't get carried away, everyone. We're watching the first one, and it opens with Tiny Dancer by Elton John and Britney.
Oh my god! When that came on, I was sitting here ready, and I heard that muffled sound of Elton John. I'm like, oh my god, the second of the show, I hate it.
I'm like, no way to engage your audience than with a 6-month-old song.
Yeah, it's an old song, and Elton John, which if you listen to our podcast, I do not like Elton John very much. So that song just had to kick it off.
I think that song was made by AI, now that I think of it. Don't you think?
It probably was. Well, most of Britney's vocals are, everyone questions if she really sings it anyway, so
she founded AI. But anyway, they show Carrie's bathroom door, and I'm just waiting for Jack Nicholson to come through it with an axe.
I know, right.
But
Johnny.
But they open this season. Now there's a lot of sex in the very first episode, so I'm like, so why is the show title changed again? Oh, because they're trying to hand it off to actors we don't care about eventually. Foreshadowing.
They all are. It's all about sex in the first. Who each of them are having sex with is the whole beginning. What did you think of that opening?
I mean, I like that. I think they used to do that in Sex and the City, the show. They used to do a little montage and show us just where everybody's at. This one just happened to be all about sex. So we see Carrie boning the hot, albeit gay, podcast producer Franklin.
And personality lists.
Yeah,
just wallpaper paste. Yeah.
He looks like a lens crafter's model.
He does. He really does look like, or a watch. He might have a watch on.
Yeah.
An ad. A time the time watch. Anyway, whatever.
Lisa Todd is getting ready to bone her cute husband.
Her husband is hot.
Isn't he so
is
cute?
So hot.
I
I
don't-
love him. He is hot.
Did you write down his name? Because I don't know what it is. We'll figure it out
that's
eventually.
okay. We could just make one up for him if you want.
Cute husband is fine. Charlotte and Harry are getting ready to bone. I'm glad they're still together.
She's probably gonna blow him.
Yeah.
Throwback.
Seema and the Prada guy, whose name I don't know. I'm just calling him Prada guy because
Yes.
that's what he was, so that's
And,
what he
like,
is.
His bulge is like very present.
He is so smoking. He is really cute. Holding up strong. Miranda and Shay in a pool. Your thoughts on that?
Oh my god. That scene when that came up, it was like, ugh! And you know what my first thought was? I wonder who was on set that day who had to endure that scene. I'm like, check the obituaries. Maybe we'll see who was on that scene that day. They clearly have died.
Filmed live at SeaWorld. I just thought...
Oh my
I was just like...
Yes, where was that film? It is. I mean, Miranda, she looks great, right? I mean, she looked great in that scene. Like, she looked good. It's just the whole jarring moment of, really?
The thrusting, the water splashing. I think this might have overtaken Showgirls pool sex scene as the worst, most campy
my
sex
God.
scene.
Yes, I bet Kyle MacLachlan's like, whoosh. Now people will forget my shit now they did this.
Oh yeah, that's going way down in the Google image results. It's all about
Uh,
Miranda and Shay now. So we
Thing
see
of the nightmares.
Naya doesn't get to bone because her estranged husband, as she refers to Andre, he's on tour, if you remember from last season. We're struggling to care about these side characters that are now main characters, as I said. So instead, she turns on her Roku TV to navigate to Max, formerly HBO Max.
Is that what she did? Well, I know she's watching like some softcore thing or something like that. I was waiting for a masturbation scene. I really was. But
I know.
no.
Well, she deserved it. I think we deserved it.
Yeah.
No, actually, she didn't go to Max, but they did show the new logo that they want everybody to know. Like, we don't already know, whatever.
I know.
And I think she turned on. Later, she said it was like a Bridgerton knockoff or something. I don't know. I don't watch that, so I don't know.
That's not what it looked like.
It didn't. No. So, let's see. And then let's see. Carrie's in bed with Franklin, and he's watching somebody handle meat on his laptop. And she's like, "Why do you like cooking shows?" And this is such a boring conversation. I can't.
It absolutely is, because Carrie acts like she's never seen some things before that she clearly has. Like, people like cooking shows? They watch cooking shows that don't cook. And like every person on earth watches cooking shows, and most of them do not cook.
She does
like,
do
what
that.
is this?
She plays dumb. Like, cooking? They do that on TV?
Yes, what's a computer? I do not know. Yeah, she does that shit. And talking about food, I was like waiting for more. Like, I know she's like gonna cook the poached eggs. I'm like, are we gonna get like a mukbang, like video or like scene? We're gonna hear Carrie chewing, watching her eat. I was really thinking they needed that in there.
I think so too. And then there's some conversation about how she wanted to learn how to poach eggs at one time, but it's so hard to drop an egg in boiling water that she just gave up. Instead, she married Big and then killed him.
And then killed him. Yeah.
Seema calls Carrie to thank her for inviting her to the Met Ball. Did you get the caviar I sent you? Because that's very shelf-stable caviar. You just send that right through the mail. Maybe
Right, and she's having it with her poached eggs.
Yeah. So what do you think about them being invited to the Met Ball? Everyone on the cast is invited, except for Shane Miranda, obviously.
Right, because they're in California. Sure, I guess so. I mean...
It's believable for Carrie,
Sure.
probably.
Yeah.
Everyone else, no.
Yeah, and I thought Carrie... I mean, she's not a celebrity, per se, but I don't know. You would think somehow she could weasel her way into walking the red carpet, maybe. I don't know. Does it only really names walk the carpet? Because I thought other people did too, but... I mean, celebrities, maybe minor ones, but...
I don't remember. We only ever see like the Kardashians and stuff going up those stairs, but I think other people do. Like Carrie's definitely a socialite in New York, in this fictional New York. I don't know. I think she's, because remember when she was dating Jack Berger and they went to the opening of that stupid play that in Brooklyn, and they were photographing her. I mean, that was 20 years ago.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway. So, and then Charlotte swings by Carrie's apartment, which is totally a thing in, New York City. You just swing by somebody's apartment. You don't call them or anything.
You don't plan ahead. You're just like, hey girl,
just
I didn't even know if you'd be home or not.
No text or anything. And so
Oh, my dog.
Charlotte comes up to see right as Franklin's leaving, and Charlotte's all pretending to be. I mean, her Disney Channel acting is really grating.
Oh my god!
But she's like, who?
Her whole line to that whole scene. Yeah, her whole scene. Or who, why? Those are like her.
What? And Carrie's like, I just have to get
What?
my egg.
Yeah.
So irritating.
She's so excited with the egg.
And Carrie's like, yeah, we're hooking up now. Now we see LTW, Lisa, on the phone in her beautiful closet. Her closet is really fun. It's got a lot of color. We like to see the clothes, so they're giving us something here. And all her kids are coming in to annoy her. Cute kids and everything. And I thought it was so weird how she asked them if they brushed their teeth, and then she makes them huff in her face.
Smelled their breath. Like, I remember, parents doing that 100 years ago, but the one is, 25 years old.
Yeah, the 25-year-old, it felt a little weird.
It was weird.
Even the youngest was too old for that.
Maybe that's her thing. Maybe we need smell-o-vision so we can smell it too.
Her daughter's speaking French, and she has to make sure she's keeping up with her French. I think she's brushing her teeth.
You get it, yeah.
So Carrie and Charlotte are walking outside the apartment. We'll do a fashion recap later. Carrie's wearing something ugly, though. And Carrie's explaining why
hat. Wasn't she wearing a big flat hat like she wore, the last season that we kind of made fun of?
Yeah.
This show's a problem with hats.
Well,
I'm going to make, an acronym.
Yeah, in the documentary for last season, Michael Patrick King was like, I have to be the hat killer because Sarah Jessica always wants to put on these fucking hideous hats. And it looks
where was he when that one came up?
That's when, yeah, exactly. It's ugly. But she thinks it's great, so whatever, we're going with it. So Carrie's explaining that she's just hooking up with the podcast Franklin, even though he's gay and works for her, whatever. And Charlotte pretends to be excited for her, and she's like, well, how big's his dick? And we're like, oh, because she wants to be like Samantha since she can't be herself.
Ooh!
Samantha!
I heard the S word. Mm-hmm.
Drinking game. Well, it's her only mention this episode, but...
I was waiting for more. I was going to keep tally of the Samantha mentions, but I think that was the only one, wasn't it?
So that I remember, yeah. Miranda's in LA and gets a call from Naya. This is what I hate. It's like the core 3 women, they keep trying to bring the other chicks in, and I just don't really care about them at all. I mean, I like Seema. We like her. She was cool last season. We wanted her to have a bigger part, but everybody else, I'm just not... There's nothing wrong with them. It's just, I'm not interested in that.
No, I agree. The only one I like Lisa because her husband's hot. I mean, Lisa this season, if you notice, she looks like has a little bit of a glow up a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
She looks just a little, I'm looking at her face she looks a little different. I don't know what she did, but...
Touched by an angel.
Touched by an angel.
So... Naya, so Miranda is about to get into Che's sensory deprivation tank, which is the first one I've seen on TV since Absolutely Fabulous ISO Tank episode way back in the day. Remember that?
Yes, I do. And I've always wanted to do one, but, when Miranda got in and closed the lid, I was like, somebody get a giant heavy rock.
Right, seal it. Seal it shut.
Seal it shut. I'm like, I wish she was floating in the darkness all the time.
Where is an earthquake when you need one?
I know.
Che is in a costume fitting for their stupid TV show that I think we all know. They're going to film a pilot probably, and then it won't get picked up. That's probably coming down the line for that story, right?
Probably so. And they have the clothes, and she's puts the jacket on and goes, I'm non-binary, because they want to make sure we don't forget that about Che.
Yeah, non-binary. And then another non-binary writer, Abby McEnany, the actor, comes in from the show Work in Progress that I've been trying to get you to watch for 3 years.
Oh.
She's great. They're great.
Oh.
And it's clear that she's just trying to get Che to look like her, which is kind of funny. Because now it's Che's like, you're not the only non-binary in town now, babe.
I like the jacket they tried to get Che to wear, actually. I thought it was kind of fun. I mean,
funny.
if Che needs to fix anything to how she looks, is those golden arched eyebrows. I wish they would tame those brows.
Yeah.
Did you notice how archy they were? Like, you want to, like, buy a burger from her. It's like, too much.
A little too much. Miranda gets something in her eye. I remember her getting something in her eye from Sex and the City because she had this exact same reaction. I think, would she get sperm in her eye? I don't remember.
It burns. No, that's from Trick. Did you ever get sperm in your eye, Gabriel? It burns.
Right.
Or cum in your eye. I don't know. Oh, I don't know if I can say that.
You can. So Miranda gets cum in her eye, and she flings open that coffin, and she's flopping around like a fish with her full pussy out, her tits and pussy. And she looks fine. There's nothing wrong. We're not body shaming. She looks fine. It's just very, I don't know. How'd you feel about that moment?
It was weird. Yeah, she was like rising from the crypt, like some sort of like, vampire / mermaid kind of thing, like flopping out
Lesbian.
onto the floor, flop,
King
flop,
Tut.
flop, flop.
Right. So,
Mermaid action.
Carrie and Bobby Lee, again, another character whose name I don't know. I'm just calling him Bobby Lee because I feel like he's too big of a name to just be somebody else in the
I don't know,
show.
who cares what his name is on the show? For sure, Bobby Lee. That's who
Bobby
we know
Lee.
and love.
They're having a drink at a bar because they're great friends now. And his wife, Smoke, who I think we briefly met last season, is designing Carrie's Met Ball look, which is very generous because, as we will soon find out, she's incapable.
She's incompetent. Well, the thing is that it's like, this is the first time she's ever done it. Are you seriously gonna? I mean, didn't it make it sound like it was the first time? Am I right? It was the first time she's ever done?
I think it's the first time she's ever sewed anything. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was like, my career would be over. Well, I'm jumping ahead, but my career would be over before it started. Like, Carrie, are you seriously trusting this person who's like never done this before?
It seems very un-Carrie-like for somebody who's cares so much about fashion to just be like, sure, put whatever, just bring whatever you want and throw it on me. Sew it on my body.
Yeah.
But okay.
Crazy. And the first time she sees the dress is hours before the show.
Right.
Paul? Anyway.
LTW and Charlotte are having their fittings for their Met Ball looks, complaining about their husbands. This is just kind of again, they do live in the same building, don't they? I think they do. And then
I think so.
Charlotte is talking to Lily and Rock. I don't even know that the kids needed to be in this season, but Lily and Rock, and they tell her that Harry, her husband, thinks that he's going to the Met Ball with her. Now, why is he interested in going, you think? To see
I think these are just reasons to have these characters in that, because as we know, Harry, it's like they built a story and they just bait and switched or something. Like, he decides not to go later, like, abruptly. It's like, why bother with this if you're just gonna make nothing happen?
No guy wants to go to that anyway.
No.
It's not fun, even for gay guys, because the clothes aren't as fun, except for Billy Porter, who will show up in a dress.
Yes.
Next scene is Carrie recording her podcast. And in a call,
Did you notice? Mm-hmm. Did you notice? I'm sorry. Carrie somehow can talk, smiling, showing teeth, and like complete sentences. Can you do that? Because I can't. I don't know how she does that. Like, smile with your teeth and still talk. Like just your bottom lip moving. How does she do that?
Let me see. I hate this show. I can do it if I really try. I'm sure it doesn't look. I probably look like the Joker.
Yeah, we look like fish, but I don't know, she doesn't. Props to ya, mama.
Props to you. So a caller calls in and asks Carrie, who's giving advice, how to turn a hookup into a real relationship, which is and
the age-old question.
Yeah, and Carrie's like all pro woman. She's like, well, wait for him to let you know he's interested. Don't you dare make a move and scare him off. And so it shows Franklin soaking in this advice, and behind in the booth there, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta let Carrie know that I want more than just sex, because that's very realistic for a gay man producing a podcast." So then he asks her on a real date, which she's caught off guard, and she's like, "Okay." Now, she's acting like she's just not ready for a relationship, but don't you think it's really because he's a podcast producer?
Yeah, it is. He doesn't have a real job. Yeah,
Right.
I don't know. I don't buy completely the story because Carrie just seems like the type of person that would have gone anyways. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she wouldn't have canceled. She would have gone anyways because that's just her personality, I feel like. And I think maybe she said she's chronically nice or something like that or whatever. Sure, but I also think she would go, especially because, like you said, she's like a socialite. I mean, show up to a party, things might turn out to be all about her. Sure,
Yeah.
she would go. I don't think she would cancel. I think that's bull.
But I think she's just being nice because she don't want to date someone. He's broke, especially compared to her.
Yeah.
Now, next we get to the best scene of the episode, as in worst. Miranda trying on strap-ons for Che.
Oh God. What did I do in a past life to deserve this? Like, just so cringe. And so, I didn't want to see that purple dildo. I just didn't want to see any of it. Like,
Multiple
good for
dildos.
them. Multiple. And one didn't fit. It was like too small or something. And then it was like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears of dildos back there. Too big, too small, just right.
And she's all acting all geeky and stupid, like, oh, how's this harness go on? And I'm like, oh my God.
Right. What is this? That's a dildo, Miranda.
And don't we think Che would be the one plowing her? Come on.
For sure. Yes, I don't understand.
Not to judge their
That
sex,
story.
but that's kind of what we're here for. So
Yeah, that's what
now Carrie calls Che for absolutely no reason. I know they're saying
No reason.
they're acting like Che, because Che used to be on the podcast, that Che knows Franklin. So see, why am I bothered with all these Z-list people I don't care about? But so out of the blue, wouldn't Carrie's first call be to Charlotte or Miranda? No, she calls Che.
Well, and she didn't even talk to Miranda at first. She's like, tell her I said hi. I'm like, aren't you supposed to be like best friends for years? And you would rather talk to Che than Miranda?
Like,
What? I would be so mad if I were Miranda. I'm like, what do you mean she's calling you?
Like, I know they're all friends now, but they're not. Miranda and Charlotte and Carrie have been friends for 25 years, and Che she's known for a year. Now they're like in the real world, I would feel a certain kind of way about that.
Yeah. I mean, well, not calling Miranda, I would be like, why would my best friend be calling someone else about? Wouldn't you be like, hey, Miranda, could you ask Che about Franklin or something? Like, you would go through
Yes.
Miranda. I wouldn't. Yeah.
That'll be weird.
Whatever.
So Che is telling Carrie something about, like, well, some relationships are just about sex. Oh, breakthrough. What a genius, revelation.
I know, right? It's like totally revolutionary. Like, we've never heard this before. No one's ever said this.
And Carrie, who's written zillions of columns about sex and a few books,
Right.
is like,
She's
really?
never talked about this before. Yeah.
And was
Shocking.
friends with Samantha, the queen of sex with no relationship. But
Yeah.
whatever. Okay, so
So dumb.
let's see. The Prada guy invites Seema to lunch with his son and ex-wife. And Seema's at lunch with Carrie, Charlotte, and Anthony, pretending that she's in a dilemma as to whether she should go to that lunch with the son and ex-wife or go to the Met Ball.
I mean, seriously, that was really dumb because I'm like, you would go to the Met Ball. Jesus Christ, you would go to the Met Ball. This is like not a non-choice.
Yeah, you DoorDash the son and ex-wife some McDonald's and you go to the Met Ball. Like,
Right. You get the McDonald's from Che's Eyebrows. You go to the Met Ball. You do not go with these like ex-wife, whatever the bullshit that was. And when they end up going to that lunch, I totally forgot what they were even doing. When I watched it, I was like, wait, who are these people again?
I did
What is she
too.
talking about? At that point, I had completely forgotten what they were doing and why they were there.
I did too. In fact, I was like, oh great, they're trying to introduce another couple that I don't care about. And I was like,
know. It was like,
oh.
what is going on?
So
Charlotte
Charlotte,
dozing off.
right. Charlotte tells Anthony that she has to take Harry to the Met Ball instead of him. And Carrie tells Anthony he can go with her instead. So now
He's
the
not so thrilled
invitation,
about that.
the invitation is just making the rounds. I feel like in the real world, there would be no transferring the invitation.
Right, the names would be on it for sure. And poor Anthony, like I did kind of feel bad for him because he was like the trash person, or he was like the maybe they're all homophobic, and the gay guy just gets treated like shit. You can go, no, you can't go. You can go, no, you can't go. Like,
Just jerking him around.
what the fuck was that?
I have to say, though, that is pretty true to life when, because as the gay friend, we do become second fiddle to our female friends sometimes.
That's wrong. I don't think that's right.
It's not right, and I've lost friends over it. Hi, friends. You former friends.
Yeah, I refuse to be that person. I always have. Like, I don't think I've ever been that person that wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
No.
So, Naya is at a restaurant alone. It looks like a really nice restaurant. I wanted to go there. And a beautiful man walks up to her and is like heavily hitting on her. And she, for a minute, she considers it.
He was on CSI Las Vegas back in the day.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Warwick, I think was his character's name. Yeah, and then he left the show because of some contract dispute. But anyway.
So finally she's like, I'm married. And then he's still hitting on her. Now, what would you do with John Quinones? What would you do?
What would I do if I was like, I'm married, and then he just kept hitting on me? I don't know. Like, I really thought she was going to stop him when he was leaving. I mean, it kind of showed like maybe that would happen, but she didn't do it. Now she's like kicking herself later. She's like, got too much.
Yeah, when she didn't yell for him, wait, I said it for her.
Yes, I did as well.
So back to Che in LA doing another comedy concert at the Comedy Store in LA, which I'm sure she wouldn't stand a chance in the Comedy Store. Like, they would eat her alive out there.
No, if that act is from the Comedy Store, I want to know the return policy, because even that last joke was stupid, and the guy with the mustache came out and said something stupid.
Her joke was like, nobody drives in LA. I took an Uber from my bedroom to my bathroom. Ho ho, that's all my time.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that joke before too. I was like, did they say that last season or something? I'm like, I think I've heard it before.
Probably because it's been told 1,000 different ways, and it's always the same lame ass LA. We live in LA joke. The traffic's crazy. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I know. That is so cheap. That is a cheap joke.
So stupid. And then that super crazy laugh track is just. I mean, I feel like they're trolling us at this point.
They absolutely are. They should have called this episode "Trolling You."
Trolling You. The next week's going to open with "Just kidding." This was all a dream.
Redo. First episode redo.
And you see Chris Noth's hand come out of the ground like a zombie.
Yes, or I want him to step out of a sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah. Like
next to the one where Miranda's in, and she like, big, and he never died. He faked his death.
That would be great. I guess we'll see. But Miranda goes up and hugs Che from behind. And remember, she's all paranoid because Che was told Carrie, some relationships are just about sex. Oh, I'm non-binary. And so Miranda's all paranoid. So she wanted to go see the comedy act, and hugs Che from behind. Now, we all think that Che is rejecting her, or rebuffing her, because she's in
total bait and switch.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be attached to someone. So we sort of saw that last season when Che didn't want to claim Miranda, but now they're in a full-blown relationship, so Miranda's really bothered about all this.
Yep. And I was like mad when we find out what the real reason is. I'm like, this is so dumb.
Like, I know.
What is this? I feel like I'm watching like a 90s sitcom. It's like a 90s sitcom answer. Well, I don't think that's the scene, so we'll get to it.
The whole show is just so quiet. It's just very quiet. Like, there's not enough happening between beats or something. It's just very... Anyway.
Well, I mean, if you have, like, the comedy in there, like, real funny comedy, it punches scenes up. It punches things up. It makes things move along. You're, like, subconsciously want to hear what's next. When you don't have that, it just drags on, and you get no, like, real emotion from it, right? No real response.
Right. And I know they're trying to shoot this show sort of like the movies where there's no narration or anything. We talked about that before, but I miss how there used to be a theme for each episode or a little story that applied to everyone in some way. But
well, I mean, I think it's that whole like relationships. If they're only, I mean, they kind of failed because you're asking that question. You wouldn't be asking it if they were successful.
Right.
You know, the whole relationship. Can you take it out of being sex into something else? I think that was it. But the fact that it's like I wish there was one means they failed.
Right. Yeah, that was it, but it was just too subtle or something. I don't know. And by the way, that's a very
agreed.
tired, lame storyline. We've heard that 1,000 times before. Innovate,
For
people. So Naya, now tell me if you've ever been in this situation. Naya is in bed in her panties. Have you? No, I'm kidding. And she's calling her husband on FaceTime, which is a great tool for women to catch their husbands cheating now, because they can just call them and say, show me who's in the fucking room. And if the men refuse to turn the FaceTime on, you know something's up.
Yeah. She called him, right?
Yeah.
And then it died and she called him back. Is that what happened?
I think he declined the FaceTime call.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
I'm not a
happened
FaceTime
fast.
user, so, but yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah, so he declined the call, and then she called back, or he called her back, and so he clearly didn't want to turn it on because he's got some white bitch in his hotel room writing song, and her name's Heidi, of course, which I love.
Mm-hmm. Heidi, yes.
You're writing a song with Heidi? Heidi Montag.
Oh.
So she's like,
That's
well,
good.
she's like, shit, I should have fucked that hot guy from the restaurant. I could have written a song with him.
Yeah, she's like mad. I felt bad. I was mad for her.
So next scene, they're still keeping Stanford alive, and for some reason, I guess they didn't want to kill too many people at once last season. But she's wearing Smoke. Bobby Lee's wife tells her, "Oh, I love your kimono." She's like, "Thanks, Stanny got it for me in Japan." I'm like, "Oh, he's still
I know. Japan, aka Purgatory.
right." But okay, I think they killed the wrong character. Just saying. So Smoke has to finish up the dress, and I'm using that term loosely because it's just a tube, like a sewn together tube, like a toilet paper tube.
It looks. That's what it looks like, or one of those like deep sea worms.
Yeah.
Like it looks ridiculous.
Now, I would have taken one look at that and been like, absolutely not, and immediately called somebody, made an emergency call.
I would have lit that shit on fire and started calling people for sure. I would have burned it right in front of her.
Just slam the door in her face and be like, "Get the fuck! Are you kidding me? People are gonna be looking at
She
me."
just shoves her back out as she walks in and slams the door. Call
Absolutely
security.
not. And then they show her like trying to sew them little struggling Project Runway season 1 strings in the back of the dress, and I'm like, "Come on."
Get the hot glue gun. Haven't you learned anything from Drag Race?
Right.
Get the hot glue gun out.
Get that fucking glue it right on her skin. It'll stick.
Just glue it right on her skin. Just like staple it onto her.
Now Bobby Lee says, I smell Franklin's cologne, because you know perceptive straight men are. I smell Franklin's cologne in your bedroom. And Carrie's like, oh yeah, because we're fucking.
Yeah, well, you know, his jacket's there. So when he left her apartment the last time, this is where my mind's going. He left her apartment the last time, he had his jacket on. So at least a week had passed because his jacket was there. And she only meets him on Thursdays. So that had to have been past the next Thursday. Look at me. I totally
Wow.
thought that.
Do you have like that serial killer thing on your wall with all the little pins with the string going?
Right? Or like investigating it from the police where they're like connecting these like evidence. Yeah.
Very impressed with your lack of continuity on their part. Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah.
So let's see. Carrie's like, yeah, we're boning. Shay and Miranda are in bed while Shay learns their lines. Now, common sense would say if you're learning lines, have the other person read the other part, right? I mean, they're already there.
Right. I mean, the key to learning lines, in my experience, is that you have to create a story in your head with the lines. And yes, having someone else read with you, absolutely, because you can create the story, and that helps you remember what to say next because you're telling a story with the lines. So no, that would never work.
But Shay's like, leave me alone. I'm trying to learn my little lines here.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me. And so
I'm hideous.
Miranda's like, something's different. You don't want me to, you pushed me away. Is there something you need to tell me? And Shay says,
Right, I haven't felt your fingers inside me in so long.
ever since I couldn't get the strap out on. And so
I mean, they took a step up. I mean, it was Shay's finger. Now they bought some gear. Good for them.
Good for them. And Shay's like, I'm fat. I'm on a diet. And I don't fit into my clothes for my TV show.
Oh, I mean, that is sad. Like, no judgment there. We all know what that feels like, but
Yeah, I mean, this is easy to make fun of, but I actually think this was like a sweeter, more believable moment. I liked seeing Che.
Agreed. Agreed.
Like, they keep trying to make Che out to be more masculine, and I like seeing that they're also sensitive and sweet, like a woman, like a full-time woman. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it was sort of a cute moment between them. Like, finally, like some moment that we feel something, what we're looking at, like I thought it was kind of cute, actually.
This is what we used to call it when we did recap Drag Race, the vulnerability checkpoint.
Yes.
And it worked, so it's okay. I'm sure we'll hate them again next week. But...
Oh, we hate them again. We will. Unless they have another story. My parents left me the bus stop. Whatever.
Yeah. Next week, that better be Che and Miranda going on a submarine trip.
Oh, shut up. That would be amazing, like something like that. Like, think of any disaster, like hot air balloon. Well, I know you're specifically referencing with the submarine,
right.
But, budgets, get a hot air balloon.
Yeah, they can do that with a green screen.
Yeah, that stuff happens bad stuff happens at that all the time.
So now Carrie has to make the awkward call where she calls Franklin and tells him, I only want your dick. I'm not interested in dating you. And he takes it in stride.
Yes, he's like over it fast. He's like, okay.
No problem. I was just trying to be nice. You're a little too old for me anyway.
I know. He was inviting her. It was like, bring, those parties, bring a nerd to the party. Like, you get a prize for bringing the nerdiest person. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to say anything mean. But... Did you say bring a hag? Right. Whoever brings the hag.
Bring a grandma. Bring your grandma party.
Right. It was actually at a nursing home. He said rooftop. It was a roof of a nursing home.
And he pushed her off. So now, okay, we're almost to the end here. Seema and Prada Guy are at dinner with Prada's ex-wife. And I guess that's her son, but I was like, they look like a couple. We talked about this earlier.
I don't know who. I agree. I don't know what that was.
And yeah, we both forgot that that's even what was happening here.
Yeah.
But Prada's ex-wife is, because Seema's like, when was the last time you saw him? And she's like, this morning when he got out of the shower, because we live together still. Which, look, that is not unheard of in an expensive city like New York. But I think of these people as extremely rich, so it seems a little pathetic. Like, he has enough money.
It does.
He could be doing his own thing.
Yes. They're like codependent or something, probably,
Yeah.
And she was right to be like, peace, and like get the hell out of there for sure.
And he's chasing after her, and he's like, I live on the bottom floor. She has the top two, and we have separate entrances. And I'm like,
I do not care.
Where's her entrance? Like, wait a minute. I didn't understand the logistics of that, but okay.
It doesn't make sense. It's like the jacket after Thursday.
Yeah.
Following Thursday.
Right. We're plot holes. So Carrie tells Anthony Seema is going to, because now she bolted out of that lunch, and she's like, I'm gonna go with. She calls Carrie and she's like, forget the gay guy. I'm going with you instead.
So rude. Poor Anthony. I don't even like his character, and I felt like super bad for him. He's just being treated like shit.
Me too. And he's just like the pass around party bottom of the show. Like,
right. Like, they don't really care about him. They just like need him on retainer in case somebody cancels or on a date. And they're like, well, he canceled. Let's bring the gay one.
Yeah.
Now they only have one gay one because,
right.
They're down to one.
Dial a gay. He's like an escort service.
Is it 800, 900 number?
So LTW's husband eats her out before they leave for the Met Ball.
She looked amazing in that scene.
She did look incredible.
She did. And he's like, I only need 8 minutes. I'm like, lucky girl.
I love that. That was a cute little scene there. And he is just so sweet. But because he was eating her out, she forgot to confirm her Sprinter van, which all the girls get in with their big dresses because they can't sit down.
Yeah.
So they have to walk 10 blocks. How lucky for them, they live only 10 blocks from wherever that's taking place.
The Met Ball, yes.
So then it cuts to Lily and Rock trying to strap Charlotte into her hideous dress. LTW
Yes.
looked incredible in that red. It was the headdress was stupid, but it's the Met Ball, so it makes sense.
Yes, I agree completely. That red is amazing. She should have snatched that thing off her head, though. See, this show has a problem with hats. It's going to be a hashtag.
It does. Hats and headpieces, they gotta go. But
Yes.
what do you think of what Charlotte was wearing? She's wearing. It looks like something Madonna would almost wear, like just a bondage inspired,
Well, like-
stupid.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when Madonna did the Girly Show tour and she did Justify My Love? That's what she wore. It was just black and white, I think. It was the same thing. Yes, it was stupid. It was crap. Like, she got hosed. Who was it that said, Seema, oh, I bet, Charlotte will bring it. I'm like, she should have left it because that was crap.
So Harry comes out in his Madonna boots, and they just look crazy. Look like they should be on the top of like a S&M wedding cake. And
Yeah, some like goth, it's like a goth wedding cake for like where everybody's or like a, I can't think of it. So I'm gonna stop, but yeah, like a goth wedding cake or something.
And why was he upset that he couldn't go again? Because he couldn't get a picture with Rihanna?
That they said Rihanna. I think they were calling her Rihanna.
What's funny
Is that
is
what it was?
her name is pronounced Rihanna, but nobody pronounces it like that,
Nobody.
especially a straight guy. We don't. It's Rihanna in America. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is correct. And so he was. Well, that's the thing is, this was like just a reason I feel like to have this character in the show. Like it never went anywhere. Like, okay, I won't go.
They couldn't even like give us a scene. I mean, LT Dubs just got eaten out. Why couldn't we see him whip out his prosthetic cock again for a quick blowy before?
Right. I mean, she still blows Harry.
Yeah.
So
So he bails on her, which
am I telling that joke too much?
no, it's fine. In the real world, that would be like a marriage ender. Like, you're leaving me 5 minutes before we have to be there. Like, that would be a huge deal, I feel.
Yes, I agree. I would be pissed.
So she calls... So she calls Anthony, and she's like, look, I'm ready for you again. So he's been jerked around this entire episode.
I'm telling you, I think they're all homophobic.
So finally, we learn that Carrie's dress is just not going to work out. So she whips out her wedding dress from the first movie, and the blue bird on her head, adds a veil, puts a really nice blue cape. Was it a cape or a jacket on with it?
Yeah, it was the cape that she was supposed to wear with the tube dress that seamstress, that designer made. It was that cape.
To cover up the hot glue in the back.
I guess.
So she throws that on. She looks fantastic to me. What did you think of that?
For sure. I knew what she was doing, that she was getting the wedding. Obviously, everyone did. But when she opened the box and you see the feathers, I'm like, oh, she's gonna the dead bird. That was the
A
first
taxidermy
thing you
bird.
see. A taxidermy bird. She's gonna glue it. I knew what it was, but just the moment of that's the first thing you see is the dead bird.
Symbolic.
Yes.
So she throws that on,
Yeah.
and she's off to the Met Ball. And of course, budget restraints, we don't get to see any of the Met Ball. Oh, what do you think of what
That's
Seema was
lame.
wearing?
Awful. I did not like it.
I didn't totally hate it, but I really hated her hair and that little curly bang.
Yes. Small. It wasn't like big enough or something, and the color was like it needed to pick a lane. I know it was beige or brown, but it was still had like a tint of greenish to it. At least it did on my TV, little greenish to like pick a lane. Is it green? Is it brown? What is it? And what was her veil? Those sunglasses?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah,
There's no veil or anything.
it looked washed out. In fact, the whole show looks washed out and kind of faded on my TV. Does it on yours too?
Yeah, and the sound is weird. Like I thought when Carrie was doing the podcast, I'm like, what is this sound? I'm like, it's like worse than ours.
It's probably ADR. They're doing it later. They're like, we'll figure out the script later and have you all do it after the fact.
Right. I didn't look closely enough. Was Carrie's lips moving with the words? Did they match?
They didn't when Nia was on this FaceTime with her husband. They didn't match. Because it has the little square in the corner where you can see yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, we're nitpicking.
Such a shame.
So
we are because we expect so much from that. Okay, we don't. We knew it was going to be garbage, but maybe they'll surprise us. But the fact that they listened to our podcast, obviously, and did like the opposite of what we said.
That's something they doubled down on everything that sucked. And I just don't get it. Like, you had all this great feedback, you know? You just didn't use it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was
And
the
I saw
first
they're still doing
episode.
writers
They're doing what?
podcasts.
Oh, right.
They're still doing that, which I'm like, we already said we don't need it. We've said it 1,000 times, but still, you're doing it.
Yeah, in lieu of the official podcast, just feel free to subscribe here because this is what we're doing. Subscribe on patreon.com/dragdungeon. Watch on YouTube. We're going to post clips on TikTok, editing just like crap. So subscribe to that. And we'll watch the second one and we'll get back to you with that information.
Yes, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Favorite